Don't clamp after me. The music died 20 minutes ago. The bass is gone. The elevator is quiet. Half the city is still glowing through the windows like this place is glamorous instead of wrecked. There are champagne glasses all over the island. Somebody's blazer is on the piano, a heel by the couch, and you're at my sink still rinsing this glass like it's still ours. Seriously, don't. You paused like I startled you. Maybe I did. Good, because maybe that means you'll stop. You should have left with everyone else. The producers, the models, the guys that laugh too loud the second the camera points their way. The women who pretended they knew me because they knew the floor party was on. All of them gone. And somehow the one person still standing in my kitchen is you. That should not feel this bad, but it does. Look at this place. Every room still sounds like somebody is trying to impress somebody 5 minutes ago. And then I see you, stacking glasses by the sink, moving through the mess like you still know which cabinet they go in. Something in my chest just tightens. Because that's not a party thing. That's an us thing. That means you remember too much. You always did stay for the part nobody clapped for. And I don't know whether to thank you for that or stop you before it drags something honest out of me too fast. Because if you touch one more glass like you still belong here, I'm going to say it. Why didn't you leave? No, seriously. Why are you still here? You know how these nights work. Everyone stays exactly as long as it benefits them. Long enough to be seen, long enough to get tagged, long enough to walk out with a story that sounds expensive in the morning. Then they're gone and the room starts looking honest. That part always comes later. The sticky counters, the dead candles, the air after too many strangers leave their perfume and options behind. The version of me that nobody wants posted. And somehow that's the version you stayed for. Not the lights, not the cameras outside the building, not the fake little smile I wear when I can feel my face getting tired. The silence that comes after. The part that ties half loose in the place that looks like it lost a fight. You used to know this version of me better than anyone. That thought should not hit as hard as it does. I keep telling myself you're only being nice. That this is just who you are. Soft, useful, impossible when it comes to the mess pretending it isn't yours. But then you fold a cocktail napkin before tossing it out. You line up the glasses by size. You turn one of the candles off before wax stains the marble, and all I can think is, you still know this room. You still know me in it. And I hate that I can't stop watching your hands. Because every small thing you do in here feels familiar in a way the whole party didn't. Like you being quiet in my kitchen means more than 300 people saying my name all night. So tell me why you're still standing at my sink, because I don't think I can survive another fake answer. You still know where everything is. You know, that was the part I wasn't ready for. You didn't ask where the good glasses go. You didn't look for a lighter by the candles. You didn't hesitate for the drawer that always sticks unless you pull it up first. You just moved through the place like your body remembered before your pride could stop it. And mine remembered too. The jacket on chair? You folded it the same way you used to do mine when I would throw it on the counter and I swear I'd pick it up later. You turned the candle off before the wax ran. You stacked the empty flutes by the sink instead of leaving them on the island where some assistant would have to deal with them tomorrow. Nobody else in my life knows these tiny things. Now, buddy, do you understand how insane that is? I had a room full of people in here tonight. Managers, brand people, friends who call themselves family when the press is close enough to hear. Girls who keep touching my arm like they're testing how real I was. And not one of them knows this apartment better than the woman I told myself I could survive losing. That's humiliating. And worse, it's comforting. Because for 1 second, looking at you in this kitchen, everything fake about tonight just drops. It gets quiet. A mean quiet. An honest quiet. The kind that reminds me there used to be somebody here who knew the difference between a home and a showroom. You were the last honest person to be here. So don't look at me like that, like you didn't mean to remember. Because if you still know where everything is, then I need to know how much of us you never really forgot. I was looking for you all night. There. It sounds pathetic enough when said out loud. Not in some dramatic, manly way. I wasn't pacing about the balcony like a lunatic, checking every room every 5 seconds. It was just every time somebody started talking at me, my eyes went looking for you before they went anywhere else. I hate how automatic that still is. You were by the balcony doors when the second round of guests came up. Black dress, no smile in your eyes, one hand around a champagne glass you barely touched. Everybody else in here looked hungry for something. You look like you were already regretting staying. I saw that. I also saw the guy with the watch leaning too close when he talked to you. The publicist who kept asking if you were back in the picture. The girl near the bar trying to act casual while staring at you like you were a rumor she wanted to confirm. None of it missed me. And that's the problem. The whole party felt loud until I spotted you. And then everything went narrow. Just you by the window, or you by the couch, or the you pretending to check your phone so no one would notice you were uncomfortable. You leaving the main room for a minute when it got too crowded. I knew every time. Even where people were in my face telling me how good the night looked, it didn't look good to me. Now once I realized you were here and trying to make yourself smaller around the whole thing. So now I need you to tell me something honestly. Why stay after the lights got ugly? Because if this was only a kindness, I'll live. But if there's anything warmer than that, I've been in trouble since the second you stayed. Give me that. No. Seriously. Give me the glass. Or the towel. I don't care which one you're pretending to harmlessly fold right now. Just look at me. Thank you. That silence. It's probably exactly what I deserve. You always did this. Back when it was smaller and parties only meant 6 people and cheap liquor. Someone was playing music off of a cracked phone speaker. Everyone else left when the mood dropped. But you stayed. You stayed when I stopped being funny. You stayed when I stopped performing. And apparently you still do. Do you have any idea what it says to a man like me? Because all night people were here for the version of me under the lights. The useful version. The posted version. The one who smiles at the right angles and makes the whole mess worth envying. Then the door closes, the music dies, and the only person left in my kitchen is the only one who knows how the ugly parts sound. You. Always you. You stayed for the part nobody clapped for. I swear to God, that sentence should not feel as intimate as it does. It should sound simple. Grateful, maybe a little sad, instead of it feeling like an opening door that I spent nearly a year trying to nail shut. So if you're standing in my apartment at 2 a.m, acting like this is just cleaning up, I'm going to say something that changes the whole night. You know what these parties feel like after everybody leaves? Funerals, just with better lighting. I mean it. During them, everyone acts like the room is alive because I'm in it, but after them, it feels like it's been picked clean. Maybe that's dramatic. I could just be tired. Maybe hearing myself say that out loud makes me sound exactly as broken as the headlines have always wanted. I don't care. It's true. The silence is the worst part. Not because it's lonely. I can handle lonely. I've had a full building around me and still felt alone enough to choke on it. The worst part is the drop. All that noise, all that wanting, all that fake intimacy, and then nothing. Just glass rings on the marble and me in a room that doesn't remember who any of those people are. You used to fix that without even trying. Not with some speech, not with comfort lies. Just by staying, making tea, and opening a window. You would laugh at how seriously everyone took themselves. You made the night feel human again. You made every drop feel survivable. And I don't think I understood how rare that was until I had a year of people who only liked the loud version. The curated version. The version that never asked for anything back. So, no, this isn't actually about the mess. It's about watching you stand in the wreckage and realize something awful. The one person who ever made this life feel less hollow is still the one I look to when everything fake burns off. And if the same is still true after all this time, then I have way bigger problems than just dirty glasses. I told myself leaving cleanly would be kinder. Yeah, well, go ahead. I know it sounds as cowardly as it is. I built this entire stupid philosophy around it. That if I cut it off before life touched you too hard, then maybe I wouldn't ruin you myself. Maybe I could just take the damage where no one could see it and call it love. Maybe distance would be cleaner than letting fame rot us slowly in public. That was the story, at least. The uglier version is simpler. I panicked. The schedules got meaner. People stopped seeing you as you and started seeing you as the most interesting room inside of me. Every time your name got mentioned beside mine, somebody in the business treated it like access or an opportunity, leverage. And instead of standing between you and that properly, I was the one that bailed first. Because running let me pretend I was protecting something instead of admitting that I was terrified. Terrified of losing you ugly. Terrified of watching you hate me and what this world did to me. Terrified of becoming one more man who said he loved you while handing you a life that only asked you to shrink around him. So I chose the version where you could hate me cleanly. Turns out there was nothing clean about it. Because I didn't leave you after I stopped loving you. I left because I loved you enough to get scared. And not enough to stay brave. God, and hearing that out loud? Yeah, it sounds exactly like the kind of man I've been trying not to become. But it's the truth. And if you stay in this kitchen long enough tonight, you are going to hear every ugly piece of it. Do you know how hard I had to work tonight? Not to just shut the whole thing down? Not because someone flirted with me. That happens all the time. It's background noise at this point. Half the room is trying to get a glance, a picture, or a reason to say my name like it means something personal. I barely felt any of it. What I felt was them around you. People talk over you when they're nervous. I remember that tonight. They start performing, talking faster, standing closer, asking questions aren't really questions. Acting like if they keep the conversation moving, they won't have to notice the part where you clearly want out. I watched it happen over and over. That guy near the bar asking whether you missed this scene. The two girls who were pretending to compliment your dress while digging for gossip. The publicist smiling too hard every time she said my name in front of you. I noticed every one of them. And that should scare me. Because I had a room full of people wanting something from me. And still the only thing I could think about was your face. The second they started treating you like a contest, no, that's not normal. That's not detached, that's not over. I almost ended the party when you disappeared into the balcony. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the second I couldn't see you, every fake conversation here started sounding unbearable. I kept nodding and smiling, pretending, but all I could think was, I have to find you. Make sure you're okay. And if that's still the instinct, after everything I did to bury it, then maybe I never buried anything at all. The part I can't get over isn't the shoes under the island. It's what happened in me the second I noticed. The whole room changed. Not because you did anything dramatic. You never do. You just hit that point where a night stopped feeling safe. And instead of making trouble for anyone, you started to make yourself useful. Quieter, smaller, easier to manage around. And apparently that still does something violent to my nervous system. I remember the first industry dinner I brought you to. You did the same thing. Smiled, stayed gracious. Started straightening the edge of the tablecloth while 3 people talked over you. I barely touched my food that night. I just sat there thinking about how fast a room can ask a woman to disappear. And tonight felt exactly like that. Not because I stopped knowing you, because I never stopped hating what certain rooms ask of you. The way they reward you for being easy to overlook. The way they call it grace when really it's labor. The way everyone relaxes the second you start helping them with the discomfort they created. God, I hated it then, but I hate it even more now. Because the old instinct didn't come back softly. It came back like it had been waiting. The part of me that wants to clear the room. The part that wants to put something warm in your hand and tell everyone to stop taking up the air you need. The part of me that hears you getting quieter and immediately starts deciding what matters and what can burn. And the worst part? I don't think I ever unlearned it. I think I just got famous enough to disguise it as composure. If you do one more gentle thing for me tonight, I'm going to say something neither of us can survive politely. There. I'm not smiling. There's no pretty words. It'll just be this truth sitting between us with the sink still running. Because that's where I've been headed for the last 10 minutes. And you have to know it now. Every tiny thing is making it worse. The way you keep straightening the room without being asked. The way you still know which candle to put out first. The way you keep looking at the mess instead of me. Like, maybe keeping your hands busy is going to make this feel less dangerous. I notice everything. I notice that your breathing changes when I get too honest. I notice that you still go soft around my damage. even after I gave you every reason not to. I notice that this night has felt more real in the 3 minutes you've stood barefoot in my kitchen. More real than it did when there were 50 people cheering in my living room. And that's not normal. That's dangerous. I don't mean dangerous in some dark, dramatic way. I mean dangerous because if I say what I actually want to say, this stops being cleanup. It becomes the night we finally admit what never really died. So I'm trying so hard not to say it yet. I'm trying to give you room. I'm trying not to turn one quiet act of kindness into some huge selfish confession. You're making it really hard, though. Because every time your hand reaches for another glass, it feels like you are touching a life I told myself that we were done with. You want to know the most humiliating part? It's not even that I looked for you tonight. It's that I've been doing it for months. Every room turns into math the second I'm in it. Who wants something? Who's pretending not to want something? Which camera angle is going to be worst? Which exit will get me out the fastest? And under all of that, one count. You. That's what every event became after the breakup. A head count of 1. I could be shaking hands with executives, smiling for the flashbulbs, saying exactly the right thing at exactly the right volume. And some part of me is still going to be scanning the room like an idiot thinking you're going to show up. Maybe I'd catch your laugh near the bar. Maybe I'd look over and see you already judging the whole thing for the ridiculous circus it was. It never felt like achievement. It felt like absence. That's the part nobody tells you about fame. Winning doesn't feel like winning when the person who used to make the aftermath or surviving isn't there to see how empty it actually is. You just get better at looking grateful and all the things inside of you go flat. I got very, very good at that. So, no, fame did not fix me. It just made it easier for me to be lonely in public. Louder rooms, higher floors, better liquor, and yet that same hollow drop at the end of every night. And then tonight you walk back into one of those rooms and stay until it's silent. And suddenly I'm not performing very well anymore. Because if every crowded room has secretly been a search for you, then what exactly have I been pretending to move on from? They love the mystery version of me. My managers, the brands, the people that make money every time the internet decides I'm harder to reach than I actually am. They really love the idea that no one really knew my smile, that it could disappear, be somehow impossible for it to show up. Untouchable cells, complicated cells, lonely cells unbelievably well, but the one person that made me love openly, that made them nervous, and became scandalous. Because it made me legible. It meant someone could get past the version of me under the lights and touch the person that was still a person. And once people know where your real life lives, they start treating it like a pressure point, like a weakness or a strategy. So I let very smart people convince me that keeping you hidden from them was the same thing as protecting you from them. God, just listen how stupid that sounds now. I traded something real for something loud. For headlines, for history, for the cold little thrill of watching the whole world speculate, while the one person I actually wanted thought I was choosing distance on purpose. Maybe I was. That's the ugliest part. But tonight stripped that out of me. Watching you in this kitchen after everyone left, there's nothing mysterious about what that does to me. Just a man in front of one person who never stopped making room for them in their head. Do you want to know what ruined me tonight? Not that I noticed you. That part was going to be predictable. What ruined me was noticing you and still standing around like I still had time. Like it wasn't already too late. Like I had already made a habit of arriving late to what mattered. I saw the actor by the bookshelf, talking at you like you were some mirror. I saw your thumbs start tracing the wet ring around the glass because your nerves needed somewhere to go. I saw the woman in silver smile at you, like our breakup had happened for her entertainment. I saw the look you get when somebody steps too close and you decide, again, to handle it beautifully so the room never has to feel embarrassed by what it's doing to you. I saw you drift towards the balcony when the noise got thick. And I still let one more conversation finish before I moved. That's the part that actually wrecked me. Not that I know you. Not that I can still read you from across the room. It's that I used that knowledge like it had bought me an extra minute. Like me noticing had counted as helping. Like loving you privately excused me for failing you publicly. So if you're wondering what kind of man that makes me, the answer isn't going to be romantic. And it's not tortured. It's much worse than that. It makes me the kind of man who could recognize your silence instantly and still leave you alone inside it, even if it was 1 second too long. Every success has felt wrong without you. There. That's going to be the confession that's underneath all others. Not because the trophy stopped shining, not because the city got less impressive. Because none of it had anywhere real to land once the noise was over. It all just echoed. The part I missed wasn't admiration. It was translation. You were the person who took these huge, ridiculous nights and made them human-sized. You turned rooms back into rooms. And you turned me back into someone who could laugh after. Someone who could come home without feeling like he left himself in whatever crowd had just clapped for him. I didn't miss having someone beside me in photos. I missed having someone who knew how to bring me down gently without making me feel smaller. And yes, I tried to replace that. With work, with noise, with women I never let close enough to matter because distance made me feel in control of at least one thing. With people who liked me in the best motion. Because motion never asked anything on its back. None of it made a home. None of it made me softer. None of it made me less yours and a part of me that matters. So, no, it was never going to be the penthouse or the city. It was never what people called success. It was you in the aftermath. You making the ugly part feel human. So the real question isn't whether I love you. It's whether you ever stopped being the place I felt like home. All these people came for the version of me under the lights. The loud version, the expensive one, the easy one. The one who looks good in pictures and never says anything messy enough to ruin the brand. That's who they wanted. That's who they have always wanted. You are the only one who stayed when the room got ugly, when the smile dropped, when the music died, when this whole place started smelling like stale champagne and other people's perfume instead of success. You stayed through the part nobody monetizes, the part no one's going to post, the part that actually belongs to me. And that does something to a person. Especially to a person who spent a year pretending that the right kind of distance could kill what he felt. So tell me the truth. Not the kind version. Not the version that's going to protect me. Not the version that lets us both walk out of the kitchen with our pride intact. Why are you still here? Because if this is pity, I can survive it. If it's habit, that'll hurt, but fine. I'll live. But if there is even a little bit of you staying in my apartment at 2 a.m. because some part of you still feels this too, then I am done. I am so done pretending. Done acting like this breakup meant closure instead of damage control. Done letting the whole world think they got the real version of me. While the only person who ever understood me stands 3 feet away, washing glasses. So tell me why you're still here. Because even if it's a little bit for me, I am done lying about what you still are to me. No, don't say anything yet. Listen, you don't owe me some immediate answer because I finally decided to stop being a coward in my own kitchen. You don't owe me relief. You don't owe me forgiveness. And you definitely don't owe me one of those soft looks that made it way too easy for me to keep surviving before. This is mine to sit in. I can hear how all of this sounded. How late it was, and selfish. How dangerously close it is to making you sound responsible for what I did with my fear. And I need you to know I'm not going to do that. Not tonight. Not ever again if I can help it. You standing here was enough. More than enough, honestly. Because I've spent so long turning my shame into distance, I forgot what it felt like to just let it land where it belongs. On me. My choices. On the year I wasted trying to look in control. You don't have to rescue me from that. Not with a smile, not with a lie, not with some easy sentence that makes me feel better without costing me anything. If the truth is hard, let it be hard. I've earned the hard part. And, weirdly, I think this is the first time I'm letting it be. So just stay still for a second. Not because I'm asking you for comfort, but because I'm trying to learn how to be honest without immediately reaching for something soft to hide behind. And if I'm careful now, maybe I won't ruin this. The second it finally becomes real. Sit down, please. I'm not ordering you around, just it's a mercy for both of us. You have been on your feet for half the night. You do not get to stay here taking care of the wreckage while I keep talking about love. Like this is somehow enough. Not after the year I gave you. Not after this room. Let me be the one cleaning up this time. No performance, no big gesture, no dramatic apology wrapped in guilt. Just stay here and let me do one thing right without turning it into another speech. You shouldn't still be holding broken pieces of my night for me. That part just hit me. Real hard. Because this is the first useful thing I can prove without asking anything from you. Not a promise. Not a gorgeous line. Not some confession that sounds too good at 2 a.m. and goes cowardly in the daylight. Just accountability that has to live in the room with us. Glass by glass. Silence by silence. And maybe that sounds small. But after the year I gave you, small, honest things are probably the only kind thing that count. So, no. No more of you standing in my kitchen at 2 a.m, fixing what I've ruined while I use remorse like it counts as effort. The glasses can be my problem. The counter can be my problem. Even the silence can be mine too. You are not the one meant to leave here carrying my damage. And maybe if I can carry this part without asking you to soften it, you'll believe when I say I finally understand what I did. The real reason I left? I mean, it's not going to be noble. I know that would almost be easier to hear. Me with some big tragic explanation, some sacrifice, maybe a clean line I could hide behind and call love. But the truth is smaller and worse. People started looking at you like you meant access. At first it was subtle. More invitations when they heard you might come. More messages asking if you were going to be there. More people suddenly remembering your birthday or your work or your schedule. Your favorite table at some place that they may have mocked the week before. Then one night a producer I barely respected asked if you were going to be coming to a lunch. That was the moment. The exact one. I smiled through dinner, finished the meeting, got in the car after I realized I had let people stand close enough to us to say something like that out loud. And I didn't know how to fight it without making it louder. Because the second I claimed you publicly, I knew what this world would do. They'll circle, push, charm, and test all your boundaries. They'll treat your life like it's a door into mine and smile while they did it. So I panicked. I called it protection because it sounded nobler than what it really was. Cowardice and fear. This selfish need to make a threat disappear by cutting you out of the frame instead of standing between you and it properly. That's why tonight hit me the way it did. Watching strangers treat you like context all over again didn't prove I saved you from anything. They proved I only changed where the damage landed. And the first person to turn your heart into collateral was me. I never changed the apartment after you left. Not in the ways that mattered. People think I did because the furniture got more expensive, the art got more avant-garde, and there are 3 more rooms in this place than anyone needs. But the systems? Nah. Those stayed yours. The glasses still go where you first put them. The good coffee is still on the second shelf because you said I only reached for the middle one when I was half awake. The lighter is still by the plant because you hated it when I would lose it on the counter. That stupid kitchen drawer still sticks unless you lift it a little first. And I never fixed it because you used to laugh every time you caught it. Listen to me. I sound like I'm going insane, and maybe I am. Maybe grief with money just looks tidier from the outside. But I need you to understand what that means. I could have changed all of it. People offer to. Designers, assistants, women who wanted to leave pieces of themselves around here like it was proof. I let them move around the furniture. I let them hang things on the walls. I let them make the place look different. But I never let them change the parts that still felt like you. Because living inside your habits hurt less than losing everything at once. That's the ugliest, most honest version of it. So if this place still feels familiar, it's not your imagination. I kept the bones of it loyal to you. Not as a trap or some pathetic shrine. just because I couldn't survive another room pretending like you had never lived in it. I'm not going to ask you for forever tonight. That would be insane and wildly manipulative. And too easy, if we're being honest. Big asks hide inside of adrenaline all the time. People say enormous things in wrecked rooms because they know the moment is doing half the work for them. I don't want that. Not from you. So I'm going to ask for something smaller. Harder, probably, but smaller. Don't disappear while I finish this room. That's it. Don't decide you have to save me from what I said by leaving quietly. Don't slip back into the polite version of the distance we both act like this is a strange late-night accident that just never happened. Stay. Stay while the glasses get put away. Stay while the city gets quieter. Stay long enough for this to stop feeling like a confession being dragged out of me by a stale champagne and start feeling like something I actually meant. Because I did mean it. Every bit. I know how little that buys me right now. Hell, maybe nothing. Or less than nothing. But it's the only honest ask I have that doesn't feel like I'm trying to rush you towards my relief. You don't have to tell me what this is. You don't have to tell me what tomorrow looks like. You don't even have to look at me like you believe me yet. Just don't disappear while I finish this room. Because if you can stay when there's nothing glamorous left to stay for, then maybe I get one more chance to learn how to be worth the quiet part too. It's weird seeing you in this kitchen with the city so quiet. No music, no assistants buzzing around, no strangers laughing like they belong here. Just the hum of the refrigerator, a cracked window, and the sky over downtown starting to go soft around the edges. And me, sounding more like myself than I did an hour ago. I think this is the part no one believes exists. Just a version of me without the performance. No jacket, no practice face, no angles to hit. No room full of people to decide whether I look worth writing about tomorrow. Just a tired guy in a too expensive apartment, trying not to scare the one person he actually wants here. It's kind of ridiculous when I say it out loud. It's still true. I used to think the public version was my stronger face. The steadier one, the safer one. Now it just feels loud. This part feels real. No crowd to hide inside, no applause to borrow, no assistance smoothing over the edges before anything inconvenient can breathe. Just enough quiet for the truth to sound like itself. And I don't miss the old nights as much as I miss who I was allowed to be inside them. The man who didn't need an audience to feel important. The man who could stand in silence with you, not thinking he was wasting some marketable piece of himself by doing it. Maybe he's not gone. Maybe he's just humiliatingly easy to find when you're here. And maybe that's why this room suddenly feels so dangerous again. Do you remember the apartment on Riverside? You don't have to answer. I can already see it. A kitchen so small that two people counted as a traffic problem. The cheap wine we kept buying because we were convinced it tasted better if we laughed at it first. That place was terrible. I loved it there. The first time we cleaned up together was after that stupid birthday thing for your friend. There were paper cups everywhere. I think somebody spilled something sticky on the floor. The playlist had died hours earlier, and your feet hurt so bad you kept threatening to clean barefoot out of spite. I kept pretending I wasn't watching you move around that tiny kitchen like you already belonged there. I was, very obviously, watching you. That's what kills me. I spent all this time chasing bigger rooms, better views, more impossible nights. And I don't think I have been happier than I was in that ugly little apartment. Half asleep, cleaning your plates and listening to you complain about music. Back then there weren't assistants, no guest lists, no one trying to turn my life into a spectacle. Just us in the aftermath. So if tonight feels familiar in the worst possible way, it's because every bigger room I have chased since then has been measured against that cheap little kitchen and has been found wanting. Not the city, not the view, not the guest list, just whether you'd still be there when it got quiet. I'm not going to ask whether you'll take me back. Not like that. That question's too neat, too dramatic. Too easy to say in a room like this when everything's already cracked open. When both of us are tired enough to mistake intensity for clarity. I don't want a moment answer. I want an honest one. So here's the real question. Would you even let me earn the right to be near you again without performing for you? Not trying to win you back with some big famous gesture. Not fixing this with flights and flowers and public apologies designed to make me look romantic in high definition. Not talking you into believing me because I'm good at saying the emotional thing. Once I finally stop resisting it. Would you let it be smaller than that? Slower? Real? Because I can do slow. I should have gone slow the first time. I can do unglamorous. I can do ordinary. I can do showing up without a camera anywhere near it. I can do quiet, if quiet is what proves I mean this. What I can't do anymore is hand you another version of me built for everyone else and call that love. So that's what I'm asking. Not for the title. Not for the answer that makes my chest stop hurting tonight. There's no rush. Just, I want the chance to stop performing long enough for you to decide whether you want the person underneath any of this. Whether tonight becomes the next time or not. Hear me out. You are not ending up as the cleanup again. Not for me. No wiping counters. So the night will pretend it didn't cost you anything. No making yourself useful while I arrive late to what the room did to you. No standing behind to absorb the crash while I finally get honest. If I'm ever lucky enough to stand in the room like this with you again, the standard changes before the damage starts. We leave before the air turns mean. We leave before you have to get quiet just to make everyone else comfortable. We leave before strangers start reading your face for clues about me. We'll leave before I start mistaking your endurance for love. That's the part I can't shake. I built a life that kept reaching for you after it had already taken too much out of me. After the room soured, after the cameras were gone, after I needed somebody real enough to make the wreckage feel livable. That wasn't love. Not by itself. So this is not me quietly assuming I'm going to get another chance. It's me telling you the version of me that deserves one would never ask this of you again. I will notice the strain before it turns into service. I will get you out before you start stacking glasses. I will be gentle early, not just guilty when I'm too late. You should not have to survive the worst version of me to earn the soft one. And I am not saying that to corner you. I am saying it because you should never have had to been asked to deal with only the aftermath. It's going to be dawn soon. You can see it on the windows now. That gray-blue thing the city does before it decides to get beautiful or exhausting. The glasses are put away. The counters are as clean as they're going to get. The whole place looks quieter, which is funny because it's the first time I have felt honest all night. Maybe all year. I don't know what's going to happen when the sun comes up. I don't know if you're going to stay for the coffee or leave before the elevator gets busy. I don't know if tomorrow's going to be awkward or kind or brutal or some mixture of all three. I don't know whether this is the beginning of something or just the first time I've said the truth out loud. But I know this. Tonight mattered. You mattered. You walking back into the ugliest part of my life and still treating it like something human? That mattered more than anything else that happened in this apartment. And if I am lucky enough to be near you again after this, I will meet you sooner. Before the crash. Before the cleanup. Before the room has to fall apart to make me honest. I know promises are cheap at this hour, so I'm not going to ask you to carry one. I just need you to hear the shape of the man I'm trying to become. So just don't rush this dawn. Not forever. Not forgiveness. Just these few quiet minutes. This gray light. This room. Without the performance in it. You were never the cleanup. You're always the part that felt like home. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new UTC audio uploads. Check out my Patreon to enjoy exclusive audios. Now, YouTube says you'll enjoy the video on the right, or you can catch up on the latest audio on the left.